Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Friday, the 27th of December 2024. In today's Millwall news, it has been informally announced. It hasn't formally been announced, but it is completely and entirely expected that Alex Neil will be the next Millwall manager. We've got the story from the southernnews.co.uk, but it's been in the Daily Telegraph. I think right now, as I'm talking to you, it's on Sky Sports News. They've put it up on their breaking news thing. So the betting company, I told you the other day that Bet Victor have stopped taking bets. Sky Bet have stopped taking bets. But I understand, apparently, from listening to the show today from that Millwall podcast, that it needs to be formally announced by a certain date for the bookies to pay out. I don't know if that's true or not, or what is that, what that's about. But we'll wait to see. I did speculate yesterday that, because of the Christmas period, that the contract wouldn't be sorted at the moment, because obviously the people who do the contracts are probably, they're not even in the country. They might be in Dubai. They might be in skiing. They might be in Aspen. They might be in New York. They could be anywhere around the world. But it is very, 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 very likely, as in it's going to happen. It's just yet to be announced officially by the club. That Alex Neil will be the new head coach. So Mill set to appoint Alex Neil as head coach. Mill was set to appoint Alex Neil as head coach. Nizden understands. Neil, 43, has extensive experience in the Championship, having previously managed Norwich City, Preston North End, Sunderland and Stoke City. The Lions have been searching for a new head coach since Neil has stepped down earlier this month after narrowing their shortlist of 3 candidates. Neil, Stephen Schumacher and Matt Bloomfield. They selected the Scotsman earlier this week. His appointment will be confirmed after Mill's match against Coventry City on Sunday, with interim head coach David Livermore overseeing this weekend's fixture. Neil's first game in charge is said to be a New Year's Day clash against former Lions manager Gary Rowett's Oxford United. So there you go. If you're wondering what to do on New Year's Day, now you know. Let's go down. Remember, that's a 1 p.m. kickoff at the Den. Gary Rowett versus the new Millwall manager. What more do you want? So yeah, there you go. I did speculate that it would be a bit silly for them to, wait to announce it. So, and it's understood that he is very likely to be at the game on Sunday. In the stands. So we wait to see about that. So that should be fun. So now we have a manager. And what about the players? As in terms of transfer window is approaching, who is leaving and who is coming in? Now, this was published earlier today. LondonNewsOnline.co.uk, the South London Press. And everyone was kind of rubbing their hands going, oh, this is good. But is it? Mill target number 10 signing in January transfer window. Mill in the market for a number 10 in the January transfer window. The South London Press understands that the Lions have made that position one of their priorities to strengthen when the period for trading opens next week. Mill allowed Zion Flem to join Burnley on loan with an obligation to buy. The Amsterdam-born attacker scored 3 goals and collected 1 assist for the Clarets. The Lions had Romain Esse in a supporting role in yesterday's 2-1 loss at Norwich, with Mihajlo Ivanovic starting up front. Fleming's permanent switch to Burnley is a formality. Mill lacked the time to source a replacement when the former Fortuna Sittard man moved late in the summer transfer window. There is a chance that the South Londoners could be depleted further in the offensive department, with Esse being tracked by a number of Premier League clubs, including Crystal Palace. Esse scored in the reverse to the Canaries on Boxing Day. Yeah, like I say, why is this being made a priority? Is it because we lost Zion Fleming and didn't have time to replace him? Or is it because Romain Esse is leaving? Is Romain Esse going to leave? We don't know. Now, apparently, he has a clause in his contract that means that when clubs come in, they pay that clause, he can speak to them. And apparently the clause isn't even that high. It may be as low as 12 million. So, I mean, who's not going to want to pay 12 million for Romain Esse? I mean, it's pretty, standard bet. A risk. I mean, it's quite a low risk for Premier League club to do that. So I think, there may be options. So, we wait and see. But, this doesn't mean we're getting new players in. This means we're getting a player in to replace, Romain Esse. And it's quite interesting. So I don't know. Here's the thing as well. So, Romain Esse hasn't been being played in the number 10 role. He has for the last 2 games. Now, did he not want to play in that role? We assume that, it was Neil Harris who didn't want to play him there, and he wanted to play George Honeyman there. He wanted someone who's a bit beefier and could tackle more, do a bit more pressing. Or, did Romain Esse not want to play that role? Does he want to play out wide? I think he's said to model. He has said in interviews he models his game on Saka. So, but he's played a number 10 role 2 games. Last 2 games, he scored 1 goal, a pretty good goal. So, I don't know if you could play Femi Aziz in a number 10 role. I don't know if that works. Put Romain Esse, on the right. But be careful what you wish for. So, but here's the thing, and we certainly do hope. No, it's good. We do have a lot of young players, but we still do need some players who are championship quality right here, right now. You can't fill the team with young players. So we maybe in January transfer window we sign some players that are of the standard, that are ready to go because it's mid-season, and that we bring in the championship players. Maybe on loan. Maybe we bring a number 10 in on loan. Obviously there are contracts that are set to run out in the summer for us and other clubs. So I imagine there's a lot of players that will be looking, especially if they're sitting around not playing, to want to come in and play. So there you go. Maybe after Christmas, once all these games are done, we can have a little look and see if there's anyone that we should be looking at. But there you go. Now, moving on to this from the southernnews.co.uk, they've had an interview with one of the youngsters from the under-21s. Obviously, at the moment, probably sitting around playing on his Xbox, probably playing Fortnite or something. Is that what they do nowadays? Eating McDonald's and playing Fortnite, watching Skibbity toilet videos. So because they're on a Christmas break, the next game is on January the 7th, I believe, against QPR, unless it gets moved. I want to be the next one. Academy star Ben Drake on adjusting to life at Millwall, meeting Danny Mack on holiday, and wanting to be the next Romain Esse. Ben Drake has serious ambitions. Only 4.5 months after joining Mill's under-21s from Sheffield United, he has set his sights on playing for the first team. He's made a good start. The fullback is a regular in Kevin Nugent's side and has already created a goal for a senior player. One of his crosses was headed home by Tom Bradshaw against Sheffield Wednesday under-21s, and now the youngster is looking to replicate that in front of 16,000 fans at the Den. Drake, 19, sat down with our paper to tell us how he ended up at Calmont Road. Well, I think he was at Arsenal, and then they let him go, and then he went to Sheffield United, and then they let him go, and he's come back down. I think, but we'll see. I was at a club called Bracknell Town Saturday League from 10 to 15. Saturday League? Okay. Then I moved from home up to Sheffield, Drake said. I'm from down south. I was at Sheffield United for 2 years as a scholar, then 1 year as a pro, and then I joined Mill this summer, and I've adapted well. I think being closer to home, it's been easier. Sheffield United play the same kind of way. They're quite tough as well. Coming here, I knew the nature of the club and how they play, so I feel like I've adapted quite easily. Drake opted to move back down south in part because he knew the value Mill placed in youth. Academy graduates Billy Mitchell, Danny McNamara and Romain Issef all featured prominently in the Lions first team over the past 2 seasons. I had a year option in my contract, with Sheffield, but I didn't have a pathway up there. And when I came here on trial, there was a pathway to the first team, and that played a big part in it. And I'm enjoying it so far. Funnily enough, I saw Danny Mack in the off season, on holiday in Dubai before I came here. I spoke to him there, and I definitely think there's a pathway into the first team. Romain is flying at the minute, and I want to be the next one. I'm doing well, I'm definitely ready for the next step. I'm doing what I can, and I'm just waiting for that opportunity, really. When asked what he saw as his best position, Drake said, I see myself as a left back in a 4, but in a back 5 I can play left wing back or as a left-sided centre-back. Not as much as a fixed centre-back in a back 4, but I played there a few times this season. I think I've adapted well. I like to get forward, I like to get crosses into the box, and I think I'm quite comfortable on the ball. I'd say my delivery is my strongest attribute. I've got an assist for Bradders last week, and that's probably the best assist I've had this season. And I definitely think my on-the-ball qualities are my best strength. Bradshaw and several other experienced players, including Sean Hutchinson, Mitchell, Wes Harding, and Murray Wallace, have all featured for the under-21s this season and have helped Drake develop as a player. It's good to have the experienced players in. It definitely helps me having Hutch or Wes or Muzzer or whoever it is, behind me and speaking to me the whole game. Drake has benefited from the presence of Millwall veterans in the dugout. Under 21's assistant coach Paul Robinson made 300 appearances for the Lions as a player, while head coach Kevin Nugent has rocked the side for over 7 years. Robert obviously was a defender, so he's definitely helped me. We do extra bits after training, and Nuge as well. The next step for Drake will be playing in the first team at the Den, an experience the youngster would relish. I've loved playing at Den. Playing for the home side at Den is perfect. I just want to play in front of the fans, really. It would be a great experience. Interesting. Now, in a couple of weeks, I don't know if this is, I'm being cynical, but obviously in a couple of weeks, we're playing against the National League team. Would it be feasible to start Ben Drake? Probably not, because he hasn't even made the bench for a first team squad yet. Maybe he could be on the bench for the Dagenham and Redbridge game. They've lost their manager apparently as well. Their manager got fired. Can you believe that Dagenham and Redbridge have been taken over by US owners? And the geezer's lost, I think, 2 games in a row, or he's lost 2 games quite heavily. He won 1-0. And they've decided to sack the manager, which is interesting. But yeah, so is this targeted to? It's quite weird to have interviews with the youngsters, with the press, in a way. I mean, unless they're on loan and they talk about their experience as what it's like as a young player, really. Kind of like trying to sell it to other young players out there. But this seems to be like, can I play, boss? Can I play? So we'll see. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be too many changes for that Dagenham and Redbridge game, to be honest. It would be interesting to see. Obviously, Neil Harris and Gary Rowett, to some extent as well, make a big point of playing the players who sit on the bench in the under-21s to get them some match fitness. Obviously, you're allowed 3 overage under-21 players on the outfield and 1 over under-21 goalkeeper. So will that continue under Alex Neil? Or does he think, well, there's no point, you might as well just do extra training. Just go and do 50 laps of the pitch. Something like that, I don't know. But we'll see. But yeah, interesting. I think it's a little. I have seen some under-21 games. Hoping to get to the QPR game as well. I think it's probably a little too soon for the Dagenham and Redbridge game. Maybe in next summer in pre-season, some pre-season games. We'll see about that. Yeah, we will see about that. Now, that's it for the news, so we're going to move on to the stats. If you're not sticking around for that, thank you for watching, but here we go. So this is from whoscored.com. It's the match report. Millwall were effective at creating goal scoring opportunities from the flanks, but we did lose possession often. We favoured long shots. We attacked down the right hand side, and we favoured through balls. And if you look on the right hand side, you can see the top performers from rating, shots, tackles, and dribbles, and it's a sea of yellow and green. One standout player really Romain Esse. George Saville had the most tackles for Millwall, and Ryan Leonard had the most dribbles. So if we go down, see the attempts, 9 to 8. 9 to 8. 7 to 4 open play, 2 to 3 set pieces, and 0 to 1 counter attack. And our one goal from our 8 shots is a 12% conversion rate, which you think, well, that's not very good, but in the stats in our recent games, that's actually pretty good. Our normal rate has been around about 5%, 7%, because especially against the Blackburn, we had 17 shots and what was it, 4 on target or something. So to have 8 shots and one goal, 12%, that's actually quite clinical for us. But you can see, obviously, Norwich's was 22%. Yes. I was going to say something, forgot. We were mostly going down the right hand side. Shot directions, shot zones, 50-50, inside the box, outside the box. Yeah. So what I was going to say, so those 8 shots, obviously, how many were on target? I'm going to guess that it's probably around 2. We know for certain that 1 was on target because Romain Esse's, bit of magic out of nothing. Action zones, player positions. Wow! So they literally overloaded the midfield, pressed, and they run with the ball. They run through with the ball. They attacked in numbers, and it maybe would have been beneficial to have 3 in the middle. This was probably a game where maybe starting Honeyman in the 10 role might have been beneficial, or maybe just dropped him back. We should have probably went with 3 in the middle of the park. But there you go. I guess if you do... But then if you do that, then what do you do? I guess... You have a wide man who switches, or the number 10 and the 11, the number 10 and one of the outsides. They move across, so the number 10 will go over to the left. If the ball's on the left, the number 10 will go over to the left, and the one who's on the right would go over to the middle and be the number 10, which Romain Esse can be number 10. So maybe they do that. They just slide across, and then the number, and then whoever's the extra man in midfield can go forward. I don't know, but maybe that would have been the thing to do. Obviously, post hoc rationalisation. Hindsight is 2020, but yeah, that's insane. They've got basically 6 players all in the middle of the park, and you can see. So obviously they pushed up their right fullback, and he tucked him in, so he's joining in with everyone in the middle. Obviously 6 and 14 and 7 are off out because we were going down the right hand side, so they were there trying to deal with Femi Aziz and Ryan Leonard. Okay. So moving on to this. So here's the match offence, obviously the goal, which didn't spot it at the time, but apparently, you can see for both goals apparently bit of the dark hearts. One of the players, I don't know if it's the same in both times. I don't know if it's 1 or 2. I see a couple of pictures. I don't know if it's the same goal or different goals. They give the two-hand shove on the Millwall player, which I think was Murray Wallace. And they just push him out of the way, which, then the referee's looking straight at it and doesn't give it, which, they've been told to allow more physical contact, but that's taking a piss. They're talking about, grappling and like shoving and stuff like that, not literal pushing people as the ball's coming into being crossed in. That is, I'm sure that's not what they mean, and that was a really piss poor refereeing performance. So there you go. Is the goals and subs and whatnot. Now, if you look at the club badges, top left, top right, you can see the average rating for each team. 6.37 for Millwall, 6.84 for Norwich. That's a difference of 0.5 roughly. That's quite a lot at this level, quite a lot. Their goalkeeper was the lowest rated player for them, which I think is probably because he didn't have much to do. For us, again, it was our goalkeeper, which I think is a bit harsh. Or Maku, obviously, he was only on the pitch for 13 minutes. So, interesting to see. And obviously SA, highest rated for us, 7.3. And Wallace got 7.0, which is interesting. Total shots, 928. SA with 2. So again, playing in number 10, gets to have 2 shots. Whereas when he's on the wing, he's the one making things happen. He's being creative, but he's the one he created. When you're playing in number 10, I guess you kind of create for yourself. But like I said before, does he want to play number 10? He seems to have a vision of himself as Bukayo Saka, Mark II. And that's not playing in a number 10 role then, is it? But we'll wait and see. So possession, 67 to 32. As usual, that's nothing new for us. And again, Romain Esse, 3.6% of the match, he was on the ball. And then Ryan Lander, 3.8. Everyone's not really that much. Pass success percentage though up. So even though we didn't have that much of the ball, our passing was better than it was, I think, in the last game where we had more of the ball. Our passing wasn't all that. Pass success 73% average. Although I think that's bumped up by the defence basically being left alone, because the Norwich players were just hassling the midfield. Dribbles 6 to 3. Aerials 1, 10 to 19. And there you go, Murray Wallace winning 8 aerial duels, which explains his high score. I think this website gives a certain cachet to aerial duels 1, which would explain his high score. Tackles 22 to 13. So again, they were pressing us very heavily in the middle of the field and at the back. Every one of their players, except for Schwarter, had a successful tackle. And we couldn't handle that. And here's the thing: they had more possession of the ball, they had more pass success percentage, but they had more tackles. It should have been the other way around. If we're going to let them have the ball, we need to tackle them more. But they literally out-tackled us 2 to 1, basically, 22 to 13. Because, as we saw before, they crowded the middle of the park. Absolutely run us ragged. And little we could do about that. Corners 4 to 2. These are the players who won the corners. Dispossessed 9 to 17. Yes, we had the ball taken off of us 17 times by Norwich players. Dispossessed of the ball. Like I said, what they weren't doing a high press, they were doing middle press. They were just insanely pressing, the Millwall players, and just didn't work. In that first half. Second half, they obviously changed a few things, a lot better. I think maybe because Norwich kind of pressed a bit less, they were doing dropped off a bit. Obviously, that's kind of hard to keep up, that kind of intensity that they were playing with. But obviously, if you do it and you score 2 goals, happy Jack. Just sit back after that. Now moving on to this, so we can see they had 4 shots on target from their 9. If we go down to see how many shots we had target, so we had 8 shots, and it was 2 on target. It was 2 on target. Duncan Mortimer with 1, and Romain Esse with 1. Rating wise, 7.29 for Romain Esse, got the goal. Femi Aziz with the assist, 6.65. George Saville, 6.74. He was only on the pitch for 75 minutes. Murray Wallace, 6.95. Ryan Leonard, 6.5. And then after that, it's a lot lower. And you can see the players that come on, they did seem to be very motivated. And they have got, normally you would imagine that the players who came on in the 75th minute would be at the bottom of the ratings because they only had 20 minutes on the pitch. But you've got George Hyman up here, 6.38, Wintle 6.27, and but still, Duncan Watmore, interested, even though he had one shot on target, got a score of 6.17, so interested to see why that is. Tom Bradshaw 6.04, Langstaff 5.96, which I think is a bit harsh. Like I said in the video yesterday, he did some very good defensive work. Again, Lucas Jensen, harsh on him. Very harsh on him, although I think because they had 4 shots on target and they scored 2 goals, that's 50%. I think maybe that's a factor behind that. And obviously, player who only played 12 minutes, Ademo Maku, he's at the bottom. So there you go. If we look at this, offsides. Did we get any offsides? No. Defensive stuff. Obviously, who had the most tackles, interceptions, clearances, and block shots? George Saville in the middle of the park had more tackles than defenders because the action was all in the middle of the park. That's where the tackles needed to be made. Unfortunately, we only had Saville and Dinor in there. Probably should have had someone else in there as well. Maybe it would have been an idea if they knew about that. Maybe it was a bit too early. When Amaku obviously got injured and had to go off, instead of doing like for like, if they brought George Moneyman off and told him to sit in the middle of the park and break forward, that might have been an idea rather than go like for like. So yeah, George Saville, people slag him off, but look at his numbers: 4 tackles, 3 interceptions, 3 clearances. I mean, yeah, his numbers are good. His numbers are good. He's been doing this all season. Except I think for the last maybe 2 or 3 games, his numbers did kind of drop. But I mean, he's been putting these numbers up since the start of the season. Interceptions, George Saville again at the top, and then Tanganga, Denor, Joe Bryan, Femi Aziz. Clearances, Murray Wallace with 8, Joe Bryan with 6, Leonard with 6. Again, Joe Bryan, he did okay yesterday. He wasn't as bad as people make out. Block shots, only 2 of their shots were blocked. So, passing wise, is there anything to look at? Passing accuracy from Langstaff was 100% from 2. Denor 87.1 from 31. Again, he's very good, but look at this. So Ryan Wintle 86.7 from 15. Is he a better passer of the ball than even Denor, who we know he's very good? Maybe we can look at that in a minute, seeing what those passes forwards or backwards or where were they going. But there you go. Crosses, accurate crosses. Again, Joe Bryan 4 and 0, Esse 4 and 0, 2 and 1 Leonard. Yeah, who were they crossing to? There's not really anyone there. Lucas Jensen 14 and 5 long balls, accurate long balls. Leonard 8 and 2, Esse 6 and 2, Joe Bryan 5 and 2. So again, but Tanganga 2 and 2. Tanganga is a very good passer of the ball. Very, very good passer of the ball. He's got that Premier League quality. Hopefully we can hold on to him until the end of the season, at least. Now we're going to move on to this, which is fbref.com, and see a few more pieces in detail. You can see the XG in the middle of the picture. XG for Norwich was 2, so they got what they deserved from the game. They had a 2 XG. They got the two goals. We outperformed our XG. We should have had 0.4. But, of course, a moment of brilliance from Romain Esse. Made a goal out of nothing in that number 10 role, which we don't know if he wants to play or doesn't want to play. But, I mean, 1 goal in 2 games, I mean, speaks for itself. Does speak for itself. And maybe that's the thing, doing the tricks and flicks and twisting around, only to lay it off to mediocre players who can't put the ball away. Do that for yourself. Run through, flicks and tricks and twists, and then shoot the ball in the goal. Do it yourself, lad. Do it yourself. Why not? Carry the team on your back. Carry them all the way to the Premier League. And then sail off into the sunset. Adios, motherfuckers. So there you go. So possession 66-34. As you can see, they had 676 passes. We had 343. So they literally had twice as many passes than us. They had 4 of 9 shots on target. We had 2 of 8. So 44% for them, 25% for us. Which suggests, that so the saves 50-50, 50%, 50%. Why is Lucas Jensen's score so low? It doesn't really make sense. Obviously, their keeper made 1 of 2 saves. Ours made 2 of 4. So quite similar. Fouls 8-11, corners 4-2, crosses 21-13, touches of the ball 805 to 473. Tackles 22-13, interceptions 8-15, aerials 110-19, clearances 30-34, offsides they had 1, we didn't have any, which is unusual. I guess because Langsouth wasn't playing. Goal kicks 9-2, so that would suggest they got 9 goal kicks because the ball was going out from our set pieces and shots on goal. Throw-ins 13-24. So we had more throw-ins. Long balls 58-61. So similar amount of long balls. Here we are. This is the Millwall squad from that game. What are we looking at? What can I show you? Shot creating actions, basically players that were involved in creating shots, as it says. Femia's is 3 and 1, or the goal creating action. So he had 3 shot creating actions, but George Honeyman on the pitch for 15 minutes? 2. So he's very busy. I don't think he enjoys sitting on the bench, which is what you want. You get dropped to the bench. I don't like being on the bench. But when you come on, show us you shouldn't be on the bench. Do something about it. Ryan Leonard with 3 shot creating actions as well. Obviously, as mentioned, we were going down that right hand side. What else are we looking at? Passing. We wanted to look at Ryan Winnell's passing, which we can see. So he had 10 short passes, 3 medium passes, and 1 long pass. And we want to compare that to Casper Denor, who had 25 short passes, 6 medium passes, and 0 long passes. So about the same, really, in terms of why their passing accuracy was quite similar. About the same ratio. Obviously, Denor did more because he was on the pitch for 75 minutes. Tom Bradshaw on the pitch for 15 minutes, did not pass it once. Did he even get on the ball? I mean, damn, bro. Damn. Pass types. Do we care about that? Corner kicks, in swinging, out swinging, straight. We had 1 corner kick. We only had 1 corner kick? I thought we had 2, according to the other website. Okay. Defensive actions. Wanted to look at those aerial duels because we see that Murray Wallace had 8 aerial duels. How many did he attempt? And I think that's in response to the last game, because I think in the last game his aerial duels was really bad. So I think either he's watching these videos or someone's told him, if you're going to jump for the ball, you got to make sure you win it. We mentioned this before, basically to show how good Emaku is, but obviously he was only played 12 minutes. Carries of the ball, basically getting on the ball, and then distance, but how far you go in yards, and how far you go towards the opponent's goal, because there's no getting on the ball and going sideways. We don't play crap football. We want to go forwards. And wow, Denor, 76 yards of distance from 13 carries, 42 of that was towards the opponent's goal line. So that's very good. Although I think he was quite deep, wasn't he, picking up the ball from the centre backs. So obviously the defenders, they go forward because all there is forward. Behind them is about 20 yards of pitch. So they're the ones going forward mostly. So when you have an attacker who goes forward, that's good stuff. Like Romain Esse, 166 yards from 31 carries, 62 yards of that was forwards. And Femi Aziz, again, I would say probably that Femi Aziz's numbers are better than Romain Esse's. In fact, because Romain Esse got on the ball 31 times, I imagine because he was kicked to the ground a lot, Romain Esse. So he got on the ball 31 times, didn't have that much distance because he was jumped on by the Norwich players. But Femi Aziz, being out wider, had a bit more freedom. Maybe that's why Esse doesn't want to play in that number 10 role. He doesn't like being ganged up and kicked by two centre backs and maybe a DMC. He wants to be out wide where he gets a bit more, space to breathe and not kicked up in the air. It would make sense. If you want to get some longevity to your career and not get injured from oafs kicking lumps out of you. Because obviously fullbacks not really built like brick shit houses. Centre backs are, especially left backs. If he's playing on the right against a left back is usually some kind of waif who's got a good left foot. Not really built to attack people. So, but Femi Aziz's numbers seem to be pound for pound a lot better than Romain Esse's. 124 yards from 18 carries, 77 of that was forwards. Fantastic stuff. But oh my God, look at this. I told you, Langstaff, I don't understand why his score was so low on whoscored.com. 4 carries of the ball, 450 yards, 41 of that was towards the opponent's goal line. Again, dropped to the bench, not happy about that. Gets a chance, comes on for 25 minutes, busts a gut. That's what you want to see. I think, having seen Ivanovic start and Langstaff come off the bench, I think in terms of starting games, Langstaff is probably the better option, and Ivanovic is probably a better option coming off the bench as a backup, and he can compete against players that are probably a bit more tired, and while he's fresh, that probably might be better for him to do that. So what did we want to look at as well was, here we go, aerial duels one. So Ivanovic 2 and 2, 50%. Watmore 2 and 1, 66.7%. Okay. Essay 1 and 1. George Savile 2 and 0, 100%. Murray Wallace 80%. So he won. We know that he won 8 aerial duels. He lost 2. Because it's no good winning 8 aerial duels if you also lose 8. But no, it's 8 and 2. And Rylander 2 and 0. And now Tanganga 0 and 2. I think maybe that's because the pushing. Maybe it was him who got pushed. That's not good, is it? So there's that. Lucas Jensen's stats, 50% save. Post shot XG was 2.3. They got 2 goals. We'll take a look at the shots later on, which you can see underneath. Launched 12 attempted long balls, 3 were completed. That's 25% completion rate. Goal kicks 100%. Were launched only 2 of them. 53.5 yards. I'm pretty sure he did come out to stop a cross. They haven't included it here. They're saying the opposition crossed in 16 times, and they haven't given the one that I saw. I do remember he did come out and collect one, which I thought was unusual because he normally stays back. His average distance from his goal line was 24.7 yards, which is quite a lot. That's literally on the D, there or thereabouts. So he's coming out and playing a bit of sweeper. So here we go. These are the shots in the game. Doesn't seem that many. Obviously, 9 for them, 8 for us. What have we got? So the goal, 0.94 XG. Post shot, 0.99. It goes up a little bit, so you think not much you can do with that. After that, 6 minutes got saved. Obviously, it's 3 yards out as well. That's a higher XG than a penalty kick. 3 yards out. What can you do? Obviously, it's all in the build-up play, which did mention they pushed our players in the build up to that goal. 2-hand shove. All of the other shots in the first half were off target. So Murray Wallace off target with head from 10 yards. Joe Bryan off target, right foot, 23 yards. Their geezer off target, 25 yards, 27 yards. And then again, they get inside the penalty area, 6 yards, left foot, deflected volley, 0.34, jumps up to 0.64. So maybe something could have been done about that, but again, not too sure. Start of the first half, they hit the woodwork from 5 yards out. So, they were very successful in getting into that area. Romain Essig blocked from 21 yards out. So that seemed to be precursor to the shot that he attempted later, same distance, 21 yards out. And the one later he scored 0.04 and it jumps up to 0.39. So clearly, very, very good shot that was. Just pulled a goal out of nowhere, out of thin air, which, that's why he's the superstar. He's a creative player. Dunk on Watmore, that got saved, 0.11 to 0.45. So that again was a good shot. It goes up, the XG goes up after the shot from 17 yards though. So we're not really getting that close to the goal. We're not even getting in the area really. George Honeyman, left foot 20 yards, blocked. Tanganga blocked to 19 yards, left foot. And then Langstaff right in, 21 yards out, right foot, off target. Ballooned it over, didn't he? That was the one that got ballooned over, yeah. So there you go. Good night, Vienna. That was it. And I think that about sums it up. So on that note, thank you for watching, and good luck, Alex Neil.